Dave Aranda just sent a message to Auburn. You might have an elite defense, but we've got this.
You are Locked On Baylor, your daily podcast on the Baylor Bears. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, Bears fans. Welcome to another edition of Locked On Baylor, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day, and brought to you today by Monarch Money. And joining us today, Sydney Wicker of KCEN Channel 6, the Wick Dog, as she does every Wednesday for Wicker Wednesday. Today, we're talking some more Auburn, if you can believe it, but we're really hearing from Dave Aranda. What he said after scrimmage number 2 about the toughest part of Baylor's team, and then something that has not been figured out yet that really probably should be figured out by now that might be a bit of a red flag for week 1. And then we'll talk about the college football playoff. Whether Baylor's going to make it, well, we'll leave that for every other week. This time, we're going to see how many teams are going to be in it and what is actually a good number. Sydney Wicker, KCEN Channel 6, last one that we're doing for a long time, Sydney, that's not a game week for Baylor football. I mean, how exciting is this?
Thank God we've been waiting. It feels like forever. So let's go. Bring it on. Like, I can't wait. I can't believe that it's already here. Like, in some ways it's felt like forever. In other ways it's just like flown by, and I can't believe we're already here. So excited to get back out there. So excited for the anticipation that just keeps building. Earlier today I had the chance to talk to Mac Brown and Vince Young, two former Longhorns who obviously made a lot of noise, and just the way they were talking about some of their old rivalry games, I was like, gosh, I'm juiced. Like, let's go. I'm so ready to be back on the sideline. So I can't wait.
Did Mac Brown talk about coming up to RG3 after the game and trying to get him to come to UT right away?
He left out that story. He left out that story.
Mac, you probably should have recruited him as a quarterback, brother. You probably should have. He would have been Vince Young and a little bit more. Ooh, that could get the UT fans riled up if they're watching. Anyway, all right, let me throw out a really basic question to start, Sydney. If we're going to leave out special teams, we love special teams. We're going to leave them out for now. We're excited about this Baylor football team. What are you more excited about, their offense or their defense?
Oh, I have to go with the offense. I'm sorry. I know. Like, I'm a defensive girl at my core, but gosh, this offense is just so fun. I think where they're picking up is so fun. I love the characters on this squad, and I'm just so excited to see them compete against somebody else.
Fun is a word. Special is a word. Electric is a word. And when we talk about, all the pieces of this offense that's coming back, we almost don't even take into account what they've added as well. Dave Aranda was faced with a blunt question after scrimmage number 2 about this wide receiver room. Here's what Dave said.
This is the best it's been. Yeah, we have to be one of the strongest in the conference, I would guess. It's pretty strong.
Whew. In his own way, biting, demure. Is this one of the best wide receiver rooms in the conference?
I mean, Dave says it is. So, I mean, everything Dave says is correct, right?
Well, for now, yes. How about preseason, Dave? Yes. How about that?
I think they're lethal for sure. And I think that's been on full display. And I think for him to notice just how deep that room is and to keep pointing it out week in and week out, yeah, I think it's pretty dangerous.
Yeah, and you mentioned the depth. That's important here. Because what if we spent this whole offseason talking about whom, right? Sawyer Robertson, Bryson Washington, Pendergrass, Josh Cameron, Michael Trigg, for sure. Dave's like, look, we're even more than that. We're even more than getting Ashton Hawkins back, which is a huge addition to bring back your number 2 leading receiver in July, late July, technically, to bring him back. Dave Aranda's like, you guys are just scratching the surface here.
What have you seen kind of from Lewis Brown and Cole Wilson?
Lewis is one of our top guys, if not the. I think his ability to win one-on-one routes and his ability to make really key blocks and to make plays when they matter. He's got dog in him. He's strong and explosive, and probably there's a bunch of tough matchups. Trigg's tough matchup. Ashton's a tough matchup. Cole Wilson's a tough matchup. Josh Cameron's a tough matchup. Lewis is a really tough matchup. So
going into next week,
Lewis Brown the fourth. He doesn't get talked about a lot. Picked up in the transfer portal. He and Sydney have something big in common, both CSU Rams. But looking at Lewis Brown, I mean, Sydney, you knew about him before we did. I mean, you've been covering the Baylor Bears. You've been covering the SEC, but you know about your Rams. This is one where I'm like, we might be really sleeping if Dave Aranda just said he could be the best receiver on the team.
I think something to point out about him is that he's a guy who wants to win so bad. Like the time he spent at Colorado State, he made it known that he was there. He had one of his best seasons in his second season at Colorado State before he transferred to San Diego State. But he has not been a part of a lot of winning programs. He's done good while he's been there, but the time he was at Colorado State wasn't the Colorado State team they were last season when they had a good run, competed really well under the coaching staff that they have right now. He has been on teams that need to win and haven't had that luck. So I think you're looking at a guy who's hungry, motivated, a part of a program with big expectation, and he wants to showcase that he can win. And it looks like he's caught the eye of Dave Aranda to be good enough to be a guy who can help in those situations.
Yeah, and it is probably an underrated pickup. I mean, the guy had 600 receiving yards last year. That doesn't make you like the best receiver in a conference, but that would have been the second on Baylor's team last year, and they had the second best offense in the conference last year. So adding someone like that, it kind of gets put on the back burner because you bring in Kobe Prentice, and he comes from Alabama. You bring back Ashton Hawkins after this whole ordeal. But in the meantime, you also bring in Lewis Brown, like we just talked about. You bring in Cole Wilson, whom the way he looks on the field and his numbers and where he's coming from sounds a lot like Ashton Hawkins. He's basically the same player with the same skill set coming from Texas State. There's all kinds of optimism around the depth on this offense as well. And I think Dave Aranda is sending a bit of a message there in his own Dave Aranda way. First message is he's getting used to Texas finally. Did you hear that? Like
a little bit.
Josh, a tough matchup. Trig's a tough matchup. I could hear a little twang. I could hear a little Cowboy Dave in there.
I'll say,
tough matchup. They play ball.
I'm glad it took him a couple years to get there. It wasn't like Brian Kelly.
Yeah.
One like, hey y'all. No, he's earned his Texas badge by now.
For anyone who wants to know how ridiculous that would be, by the way, Brian Kelly grew up less than an hour from where I did, okay? And spent more time there than I did. And I don't pretend to have any kind of twang. I really don't. But the other message that Dave, I think, puts out there is in his own Dave Aranda way, like, look, we know Auburn's a really good defense. We know it's a top 20 defense, and we keep hearing about Auburn's receivers, who we'll talk about in the next segment. But he says, we got some dudes too. Like, for all those of you who just see Big 12 and think, oh, well, they didn't go up against anybody. Like, how about we get on the field and prove it? I can feel a little bit of that from Dave in there.
Yeah, if the chip doesn't go away. Like I think this Auburn team is such a motivated team too. I've been watching the SEC show on Netflix any given Saturday, and like you can tell how badly they're ready to turn around their program. They know the history of Auburn. Like it seems like last year was such a building block for Auburn, and that's such a similar story with Baylor. Like they had such a big turnaround. They were able to build off of nothing pretty much and make this go. So to be, the chippiness is there. And it seems like there's little digs here and there, even from Hugh Freeze. Like he's throwing out different talking points too. He said he might throw out 3 different quarterbacks in the first game. So does that make Dave's defensive mind spin? Maybe it doesn't faze him. Maybe it's all talk. So it just seems like there's this chippiness there in general between both of them.
If they roll out 3 quarterbacks, I think Auburn can combine those 3 to make 1 serviceable quarterback. I do think that's true.
That would be the hope.
But then again, Baylor might be giving them a bit of a break. We'll tell you what that is coming up next on Locked On Baylor. But first, a word from today's sponsor, which is Monarch Money. I don't know about you guys. I like money. I think some of you do too. If that's the case, let's band together. Most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's 401ks, properties, or investments. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. I don't like doing that. That's where That's why there's Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or on your phone that you're listening or watching this show right now on. Monarch does the heavy lifting for you. You can link all your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your own money without ever touching a spreadsheet. So don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use the code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com in your browser and half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with the code LOCKEDON, COLLEGE. Today's episode is also brought to you by our newest sponsor of the Locked On Podcast Network, which is OpenPhone. If you're running a business, every missed call is money left on the table. One theme of this ad read is, I don't like leaving money on the table. Think about the last time you needed a service. If the first person didn't answer, did you wait? Probably not. You moved on. That's why you need OpenPhone, so you never miss an opportunity to connect with your customers. OpenPhone is the #1 business phone system designed to streamline and scale your customer communications. So see why over 60,000 businesses trust OpenPhone. They're offering Locked On listeners, that's you, 20% off your first 6 months at openphone.com/lockedoncollege. That's OpenPhone.com/lockedoncollege. They'll even port over your existing numbers for free. OpenPhone, no missed calls, no missed customers. Back here on Locked On Baylor on a Wicker Wednesday, joined by Sydney Wicker of KCEN Channel 6. I'm Cam Stuart of ESPN Central Texas and the Cam Show on YouTube. So, guys, want your thoughts here. What do you think about this Baylor offense? How do you feel about this matchup against the Auburn defense? Let me know in the comment section below. And, of course, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. We are getting very close to 4,000 subscribers. I did not think it was going to be possible before opening kickoff, but we're about 60 subscribers away as this is being dropped. So let's get there. Only about half of you watching are actually subscribed. Let's get there. How about it? But let's talk the other side of things, Sydney. We talked about Baylor's offense, Auburn's defense. That's going to be the matchup. That's going to be really fascinating. I mean, you're talking about a legit top 20 offense against a legit top 20 defense that have both improved from last year. The other side, though, is where it's going to be morbidly fascinating, okay? Baylor really needs to get a better defense than they had a year ago if they're going to compete in this conference. And Auburn needs to get a much better offense just to not just compete, but like to make a bowl game, to have their first winning season in 6 years. They need to do better than what they've done the last few years in the Peyton Thorne experiment. And one of the things we've talked about all offseason long, Sydney, is this defensive backfield for Baylor. They've got a new coach in there in Paul Gonzalez. They've added some new pieces, but I don't think we can stress enough just how important that unit is for this team.
So important, especially like you just talked about. There's so many question marks around what this Auburn offense will look like and where do they go? How do they do it? I had just joked about how they were saying, we're willing to throw 3 quarterbacks in a game if that's what we have to do. There's so many different questions about what we'll see on both sides. But when it comes to Baylor and their safeties, those cornerbacks, they have to come ready to attack. Jackson Arnold is a guy who loves to hold on to the football. There needs to be pressure on the quarterback. You have to be ready to attack because it seems like he's a guy who's attackable from what we've seen. So in order to slow their offense down for whatever they could bring, how do you attack that early and quick? And I think that's something to focus on, but we know the secondary group is one that needs a lot of work. And that's been a big emphasis, not only in fall camp, but also in spring ball.
Yeah, and through the transfer portal, right? I mean, you bring in a Calvin Simpson-Hunt from Ohio State at corner. You need internal growth from someone like Caden Jenkins, who we've talked a lot about. Carl Williams had a good year. He's probably ready to take that next step. Tevin Williams, another guy, probably needs to take more of a step for this to be a better defense. I mean, this goes all the way around. Dave Aranda agrees. And he's talking about the safeties in particular. And boy, a bit of a double-edged sword in this next one and maybe a bit of a red flag at the end of it.
There's positive things. There's things I wish we could do better. I think it's there's growing pains there. I think, Devin Bobby is one of the most improved guys. Simpkins is one of the most improved guys. they are playing their best football that they've played. I think we've got some new guys, young guys. We're trying to find roles for. Bo Onu is playing well. Tyler Turner is a consistent guy. I think we're trying to be able to get consistent coverage play. I think playing the run game and blitzing is probably a little bit ahead of just covering. And so still some work to do there.
So some good and some bad there. Okay. First off, love hearing good about Kendrick Simpkins. I loved Kendrick Simpkins going into last year, and he didn't love staying on the football field all that much. He made like 4 tackles all year. I compared him to Rodney Harrison. So that's good. And hearing that the pass rush is better, we've heard that a couple of times throughout camp. That's great. And you can cover up some of your ills on the back end by having a good pass rush. You need to have an elite pass rush to kind of take it out of the equation. And that last part there of Dave saying, a week and a half before game number 1, our coverage is not where it needs to be. Sydney, that's a really worrying sign to me going against this Auburn team.
Yeah, don't love it, but I think you're not going to see results overnight. I don't think, I'm excited to hear about their growth and where they have taken strides, but I just think when you think about how rough shape that group as a whole was last year, is there even enough time in the off season to totally turn it around? Like, it's going to be something that's going to progressively have to get better week in and week out throughout the season. So I think it's just a reality check, in all honesty, of like, this is where we're at. Hopefully it is better, and hopefully we see that it is better on the field. But I do think it was kind of a gut punch of like, hey, we're still not there yet. It sucks, but we are seeing at least a couple leaders. So,
yeah, and it's your point earlier about the guys that focus on it in spring ball. Like from that position, like you had to rotate probably some other depth guys in at safety because of the Devin Turner injury, which comes after spring ball. But most of the defensive backs were already there. Like you had these guys. Calvin Simpson-Hunt was right at the end of that other window because he had won the national championship at Ohio State. But for the most part, you got all those guys in there. You look at Auburn, Cam Coleman, NFL receiver. Malcolm Simmons, NFL receiver. Yeah. Eric Singleton, maybe the best receiver in the portal this past year. He's going to be an NFL guy. So, yeah, there's all kinds of question marks around Jackson Arnold, and I'm not going to back off that. But Baylor really might be throwing them a bone if they're not ready to cover. For all you can say about Hugh Freeze, and he finds ways to lose games, he is a good play caller. I know they've got 5 or 6 play callers over there, just whatever town it is, somebody new's calling a play, and potentially some other quarterback in there. But the strength of Auburn's offense is certainly those receivers. And this is going to keep me up at night a little bit, hearing that this team's not ready to cover.
Definitely tossing and turning a little bit, not loving that. I know you'd mentioned Cam Coleman, that guy's so good. He's so fun to watch. Like, it's almost like, you have to be real. I do think, whatever you are able to apply pressure-wise to Jackson can help alleviate how many times he connects with those guys. But then again, last week when we talked, I was like, I'm always afraid of Auburn's running back room. They are so talented when it comes to running the ball. So you got to be ready really on all phases of what their offense could potentially bring, no matter who's going to be back there in quarterback.
Yeah, truly. And like that is what probably worries me the most. I know some people are playing up the trenches, and I'm a football guy. Like, games are won and lost in the trenches. I just don't think Baylor's trenches are as bad as the big bad SEC thinks. But this is where it worries me. Those receivers against these corners. Obviously, we kind of had a wing and a prayer. We had some hope going into it. And, looking at Baylor last year and their offensive line, for example, that got much better halfway through the season. So maybe that's what happens with this defensive backfield. Just ain't going to help much week 1. But what's worrying you guys, or what is helping you guys sleep at night when it comes to this week 1 matchup? Let us know in the comment section below. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and of course, find us wherever you find your podcasts as well. Coming up next, both these teams will feel like they're playoff bound, or I should say whomever wins week 1 is going to feel like they're playoff bound. In a couple of years, does that mean they'll just be one of 28 teams going to the college football playoff? Let's talk about it next on Locked On Baylor. Today's episode of Locked On Baylor is brought to you by Prize Picks, the daily fantasy platform that lets you turn your football predictions into real rewards. Preseason is heating up, and college football ain't too far from our eyesight right now. Whether you've got your eye on the big-name quarterbacks like Sawyer Robertson or the breakout running backs like Bryson Washington, Prize Picks makes it easy to get in the game. The flex play option, by the way, total game changer. Even when one of your picks misses, you can still get your money doubled. Prize Picks puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. Download the Prize Picks app today and use the code LOCKEDONCollege to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONCollege, LOCKEDONCOLLEGE, to get $50 in lineups after your first $5 play. Prize Picks, run your game. Today's episode is also brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. And as you guys know by now, August 26th is a new holiday on the sports fans' calendar. Of course, that is FanDuel Futures Day, a brand new holiday for football fans who live for bold predictions and preseason hunches. So for just 24 hours, FanDuel is giving you deals on NFL season predictions. So whether you're calling your MVP, eyeing a long shot division winner, or ready to crown your Super Bowl champ before week one even kicks off, this is your moment. I think a lot of Auburn fans are going to pick Auburn to win the Super Bowl. I think that's how confident they are in this team. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your futures bets now, because Futures Day is one day and one day only. FanDuel, play your game. Running it back, last segment here on Locked On Baylor on a Wicker Wednesday with Sydney Wicker of KCEN Channel 6. Sydney, I think you would probably still somewhat categorize yourself as a Big Ten girly. I think that's
for sure.
Grew up in Big Ten country, you know. Mm-hmm. And the Big Ten is going behind all our backs. They really want a robust college football playoff. Apparently, Tony Batiti has been talking with his university presidents and athletic directors about a potential 24 or 28 team playoff, as the rest of the powers that be, aka the SEC, are looking at a 16 team playoff for next year. I just want to get your thoughts on this. I've said it a couple times on the show. I think 12 is a really good number. I really like the 12. I like the way that was set up last year. I like the home games. I think that's, like, honestly, really good. 24 or 28. What is that? What is that to you?
Ridiculous. Like, come on, what are we doing? It's too much. Like, eventually there needs to be a line drawn in the sand. Like, this is what we're sticking with. This is what it is. Like, we have only had the 12-team format for 1 year. Are you guys really like that unsatisfied? I don't get it. I think that's kind of what was crazy when we were at Big 12 Media Days, and we heard the commissioner already talking about how much he was into the 5-11 format of the playoffs. Like, that's great. And that's exciting, whatever. We are always here for expansion talk, whatever. Sometimes it is more fun bringing in more teams and cool to see what you can do. I do think sometimes it doesn't hurt having a couple more games, because these bowl games are pointless. If you are not in the playoffs, do you care? Like, I don't. I'm not really watching unless my team or a team I'm associated with or root for is playing.
Except, of course, the Texas Bowl. That's a great bowl game. We love them.
I'm not watching. Yeah, I'm not watching. Like, it's just as simple as that. But 28 teams, like, do you need the whole top 25, like, in the playoffs? Like, come on.
And guess what? If that happens, 28 teams, 29th team's still going to be pissed. 30th team's head coach is still going to be on Twitter asking why they didn't get in there. And at that point, we're talking about the 7th or 8th ranked team in the SEC or the Big Ten. Like, that's what we're talking about. And personally, as a college football fan, I would much rather see an Army or a Navy in there as an American champ rather than the 5th or 6th place team in any conference, even the Big 12. But yes, of course, that would come down to the SEC and the Big 10. And so one of the arguments is kind of what you talked about, is like, what does this do to the bowl games? And I'm with you. I don't really care what it does to the bowl games. For me, if you have a 2018 playoff, what does that do to the regular season? Like, what does that do to the 2 or 3 months that we have, that we live for every year? Like, that's what truly sucks for me. That feels like it's taking out almost all of what the regular season means in college football.
It's fun to be at a place where perfection is the standard. Like, these teams still right now have to play pretty darn near perfect to get into the playoffs. That adds to the hype, that adds to the anticipation. Like, that's why every week is so important. And that's what makes it so fun when there is a team that does have a loss, but then they're looking at an undefeated team and you're going back and forth of like, well, what's more important, their record or the teams they've played? And we have these conversations constantly when it comes to the playoffs. But 28 teams is just like, what are we doing? Like, in the bowl games, like, the only, I guess, bowl game I'll watch is the Pop-Tart Bowl, because come on, it's so entertaining.
It's great.
Add it. Like, come on, it's so good. I can't get over it. But it's just, we've got to get to a point where it's like, what are we doing? Like, make a decision. 28 teams is ridiculous. Like, why is this even a conversation? I really don't know why we're talking about it. It feels fake to me. Like, when I was reading the article, I was like, this isn't real. Like, what do we want? Rutgers in it? Okay, we'll win
Well,
Rutgers.
of course.
Come on. Like,
we'd love one of the original college football teams in there. Rutgers. We'll take Princeton.
Maryland.
We'll take Lafayette. What are they up to these days? It's insane. And again, like we talk so much about like the integrity of the game, and this is why it sucks here, and this is why it sucks here and here and here. But like this to me, if it were to pass, which it won't, but there are some ADs and other conferences who have had their interest piqued by this. But to me, that's what kind of makes college more like pro sports, even more so than the NIL and the transfer portal and the free agency and the coaches. Even more than that is that if you do this, it's just like the NBA. The NBA right now is grasping at straws, taking names out of a hat, trying to find anything to make their regular season interesting. And it's because teams do load management. Teams don't care what their seed is in the playoffs. They're not fighting for something. That's exactly what would happen to college football. Like, you think Alabama and Ohio State or USC are going to be clamoring to get the 1 seed versus the 4 seed? No, they're going to be in the playoff basically every year. Like, that's just how it's going to be. Georgia or, whomever, name your blue blood team is just going to be in there all the time. So why are they battling for spot number 10 versus spot number 12? And all those things we love, those great rivalry games, Michigan, Ohio State, 4th Saturday in November, that's not going to be there anymore. Like, they'll play at some point, but it's not going to be in November. That's when the football playoffs are going to be starting. If you've got 28 teams, like, you're not going to have Thanksgiving football, UT A&M. That's going to be gone because you're going to have a playoff game on that night. And what I think gets lost in this is, again, 1 year of the 12-team playoff, and we all loved it. And so these ADs think, okay, then we need more of that, rather than just let's see how this goes 3 or 4 years. And what can we do to maximize that? Instead, we're like, we need to build onto it. So I think it's dumb. I think 12 is actually a really good number. 4 was probably too small. I think 16 we're really teetering on being too big. I think 12 and the way they have it is perfect. Let's just let it happen for a little bit. Let's just let it play out for a couple of years. I don't know. Maybe that's crazy, but
no, I agree with you. College football is an art. Let it be an art.
Yeah.
Let's love it still.
Stop effing with it, please.
Yeah.
We've done enough, okay? We've done enough. Let us know what you guys think in the comments section below. What do you think of the 2018 playoff? What do you think is a matchup that helps Baylor or hurts Baylor in this Auburn game? Let us know in the comments. And then, of course, be sure to like and subscribe and tell your friends to like and subscribe, because we're so close to 4,000 subscribers before kickoff, and we're trying desperately to get there. That would be a huge moment for Locked On Baylor. Sydney, I can't let you leave yet, because we've got some trivia. We have got some classic
trivia.
Locked On
It
Baylor
dumps
trivia.
me, but I love it.
This one's not going to be any easier. This is going to be for the real old school football heads here. All right, because this matchup in week 1 is going to be the 5th time, right? Yes, the 5th time that Auburn and Baylor have met on the football field. The first one was in 1954 in Jacksonville for whatever bowl game that was. And the last one was 1976. But what I want to look at, Sydney, is the last time these two teams met in Waco, the only time these two teams have met in Waco, which about a month from when you're listening to this, will be the 50th anniversary when they met in 1975. So my question is, Who? That's the word I'm looking for. I almost said what. I really wanted to say what, but the word is actually who. I'm pretty slow. Who was the victor in that game in 1975, the only time Baylor's played Auburn in Waco? Let us know in the comment section below. First one I see, get it in the comment section, or tweeting at us at Locked On Baylor gets a shout out on the next episode. Sydney Wicker of KCEN Channel 6, her coverage is picking up like that. Like it's all coming in. High school football, Baylor. So check her out at KCEN Channel 6 and every Wednesday here on Locked On Baylor. Thank you so much for making it your first listen today and every day. We will see you tomorrow. Maybe a crossover edition of your favorite show, Locked On Baylor.